You know the image, right? Tarot cards. They're mysterious, they're symbolic, maybe even a little spooky. You've seen them in movies, and they always seem to hold these ancient secrets, promising a little peek into the future.
And pop culture absolutely loves this idea. You know the scene, a dark room, some mysterious fortune teller, and then, boom, the inevitable turning of the death card. It's a super powerful and, let's be honest, kind of terrifying trope.
But is that really the whole story? Is tarot some ancient book of wisdom that's been disguised as a deck of cards, a secret tool for seeing what's to come? Well, the truth is actually way more surprising than you'd think.
Yep, you heard that right. A game. Before it was ever about telling fortunes, tarot was all about having fun. So how on earth did a simple pastime get this dramatic occult makeover? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Okay, so our story starts way back in the Renaissance.
So picture this. Playing cards first make their way into Europe in the 1300s. Fast forward about 100 years, and in the fancy courts of northern Italy, the local nobles start commissioning these special expanded decks for a brand new kind of game. This wasn't some secret ritual happening in a back alley. This was high society entertainment.
And the name they used tells you everything you need to know about how the game worked. They called them Carta da Trionfi, which just means cards of triumph. They had a special suit of illustrated cards that could beat or triumph over any other card. And get this, the whole idea of trumps, which is so central to games like bridge or spades, comes directly from tarot.
As one historian put it so perfectly, there's nothing mystical going on here. The origin of tarot is about as mysterious as any other old parlor game. It was just a new, fun twist on game design. Okay, so let's take a closer look at how this deck was actually put together.
So what did this original game deck actually look like?
What's really wild is how familiar this setup is going to sound. You've got 78 cards total. 56 of them are in 4 standard suits, kind of like a modern deck, just with an extra court card. Then you've got the 21 special trump cards, the Trionfi. And finally, there's one really unique card, the Fool.
And we're not talking about some cheap, mass-produced deck here. The earliest ones that have survived are just stunning. They were hand-painted, covered in gold leaf, true works of art made for powerful families like the Visconti Sforzas in Milan. These were luxury items, status symbols for entertainment.
So let's be super clear. In the 15th century, tarot was a trick-taking game you played for fun, period. If you wanted to do some actual magic back then, you were using talismans or necromancy, not a deck of playing cards. In fact, these early decks were surprisingly forward-thinking, often showing powerful female figures like female knights, reflecting the courtly culture of the time.
Okay, so, if tarot started as this innocent card game, how in the world did it become the fortune-telling tool we know today? Well, this is where the story takes a major plot twist.
And this slide right here, it just lays it all out, plain and simple. On one side, you have the historical reality, a fun game for the Italian elite. On the other side, the myth that was cooked up centuries later, an ancient book of Egyptian secrets. The gap between those two is just massive.
So this big transformation all goes down in late 18th century France. By that point, the original Italian game had mostly been forgotten in a lot of places. Its real history was getting fuzzy, which created this vacuum of knowledge, just waiting for someone to fill it with a new story.
And into that vacuum stepped a group of French occultists. Now these guys had no idea about the game's true origins in Italy. They just saw these cool, strange, symbolic images and projected this entire mystical history onto them. They made up this incredible story that the cards were actually the last surviving pages of the lost Egyptian book of Thoth. This completely fabricated history took root, and believe it or not, it became the foundation for all modern tarot reading. In fact, it wasn't until 1910 that the famous Rider-Waite-Smith deck was created, the very first deck designed specifically for fortune-telling.
But, and this is the real kicker, while this whole new mystical tradition was taking off and becoming a huge deal, the original game? It never actually went away. That's right, the game of tarot just kept on going, kind of under the radar. It evolved in different countries, and it's still played with a ton of enthusiasm today all across Europe, from Italy to Austria and especially in France.
In France, they just call it Jeu de Tarot, and it is a massive deal. We're talking about the second most popular card game in the entire country. They have official federations, huge tournaments. It's a serious, strategic, and much-loved game.
And the gameplay itself is classic trick-taking stuff. You bid against the other players to be the taker, and then you have to play alone against a team of everyone else.
Your goal is to win tricks and capture the high-value cards to reach a target score. It's all about skill, strategy, and a little bit of calculation.
So what we have today is a tarot that leads this fascinating double life.
And this table really breaks down that split personality. In the game, your goal is to win points by taking tricks. The key cards, the oddlers, help you set your point target. And the Fool is your excuse, a special get-out-of-jail-free card. But in divination, the goal is to gain insight. The trump cards become the major arcana, loaded with deep meaning. And the Fool? It's not a game piece anymore. It's the hero on a profound spiritual journey.
So you have this single object, a 78-card deck that has evolved down two totally different paths. One path stayed true to its origins as a source of fun and social entertainment. The other was completely reinvented to serve one of our deepest human needs, that timeless search for meaning and a better understanding of ourselves.
It's such a powerful reminder that what things mean isn't always fixed in stone. The story of tarot shows us that if you create a compelling enough narrative, you can transform even a simple card game into a profound tool for introspection, which really leaves us with a big question to think about. How much of an object's meaning is about the object itself, and how much is it about the story we decide to tell about it?